Well, it looks like you're frozen. I don't know if you can hear me. And here I am on Dreamer's live stream by myself. I don't know where he went. I don't even know if I'm on or if I'm live. It says live in the corner. Maybe I could just riff just in case this thing is on. This could be funny. Oh, here he comes. I think he's coming back. Sorry, I was hosting for you.
Oh, thank you. No, that's okay. I apologize. One last time. Well, they say the show must go on.
Here.
You're watching Guitarist Dreaming 352, the home of all things guitar related. If you believe it and conceive it, you will achieve it. And now it is my pleasure to introduce your host, the dreaming guitarist, Will Starr.
Here we are, Will. Your mic is muted again. Looks like I'm taking over your show. I'm just going to roll with this.
Well, we are back, all you dreamers. What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to Hanging with the Dreamer. And hanging out today, we have the esteemed pleasure of having Mr. Adam Reiver from fu-tone.com. How are you, Adam?
I am good. And apparently now this is the FU show and you're my guest because you keep dropping out. So we're going to talk about all your gear and what you're up to, and you'll tell us what's new over at Dreamer, and we'll roll with that.
Okay, sounds good. Well, my gear, I currently have a 1960 tribute Gibson Les Paul studio that I had Frankenstein actually.
Oh, cool.
I stripped all the paint off. I carved up the top, and I put a rose stencil, and I named the guitar Rosie, named after my niece from China.
Nice. Well, and you could imagine I'm a fan of Frankenstein guitars.
That's awesome. I love them too, sir. I love them too. And I have a all-in-one SC57 single cut. Now this company all-in-one's out of LA and actually Koreatown. And their guitars are made in the USA, and the owner of the company is a MI Musicians Institute graduate.
Very cool.
And the craftsmanship on these guitars is pretty amazing, actually. I get comments on it from purist players, and well, actually purist type of players that are pretty amazed with the fit and the finish and the pickups and the way the guitar is set up. And when those that I am tight with, that I am close with, ask me, well, how much did you pay? And I'm like, thinking, I really don't want to tell you right now. But so then I mentioned, and it's I think this company has a lot of promise. I really love their instruments.
Excellent.
I use Friedman pedals. I use TC Electronics pedals. My recording software is Presonus Studio 1.5 Professional. And I recently signed up for this Persona Studio One Spear program. I'm a Spear member, which means anybody who becomes a Spear member will have a membership for life and will get free upgrades. And it's really a good deal for the recording guitarist that's at home. So my question, enough about me. That's just me. I have a Positive Grid Spark that I still need to unbox.
I just ordered one of those. I just ordered it.
You're gonna love it.
That's why I ordered it. Everyone's talking about it, so I said I got to order it.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. You get to create your own jam tracks. You get to create your own backing tracks. It even has a trainer on there that pulls out guitar tabs off the internet.
Oh, that's great.
It's a good thing.
Cool.
Pardon me. So, U.tone.
Yes.
What's the history of U.tone, Adam Reiver?
How much time do you have?
Well, as much as you have, sir.
U.tone came. I did EVH detuner first, the drop D piece, and that kind of had me in the game with a lot of the right people and the right companies. And I worked with some different companies, and I thought, let's start improving locking tremolos. The people that I was with at the time didn't think it was such a good idea. So I said, I'll just give this a whirl on my own. And I literally started the company with one product and just kept growing and growing and growing to, hundreds of products now. Bridges, not just stuff for tremolos, pickup PMS, pickup mounting system, parts for acoustic guitars. I make titanium and brass acoustic bridge pins, Stratocaster blocks and parts. But the core of the company is based around locking tremolos, starting with upgrading the basic components of your tremolo, which will make your guitar sound better. It makes it sustain more. It makes the clarity come through better. It gives you more definition, punch. And that all starts with the block underneath the tremolo. And what we do is we make the block obviously bigger, and we make it out of more resonant materials like high-grade brass or copper or titanium. And people think you're really hearing the block so much, and you're not. What you're hearing is your guitar. I'm taking that vibration and pushing it back out into your guitar, sending it mostly through the wood, which gives you that. It's like taking the blanket off of your guitar. The way I describe it to a lot of guys is, your guitar kind of sounds like this, the way it is. But when we open it up, it sounds like this, it gives you more of what you paid for in the first place. So, and then we just started changing and upgrading different components of the tremolo. The next biggest thing behind the block would be the saddle inserts, those little blocks that go in the saddle. Instead of that like cheap metal that everyone used where they would crack, expand, get stuck, and just sound crappy. Titanium or naval brass versions of that do the same thing. They just give you more clarity, more sustain, more tone transfer, and they'd never crack, get stuck, or ruin your saddles.
That's absolutely amazing. With the overall tone that a musical instrument is able to achieve, I notice that I find myself, if there's a guitar I'm thinking about getting, or a guitar that, maybe I want to, I don't know, for lack of better terms, Frankenstein. I always think, how's that guitar gonna sound when I just pick it up and put it on my lap? Before I plug in, before anything, how's it gonna sound?
Oh yeah, well, acoustically, I mean that tells the tale too, and that guys say that all the time when I do the guitar for them. Before we turn it on, you strum it on your lap, and you just hear it twice as loud. You feel it vibrating against your body that it didn't do before, and then they plug in and they're like, "Wow, that's the good stuff."
Now I have seen pictures of well, let me rephrase that. I have I've just always seen a relation somehow between a guitar that is U.tone to the max and big a big loud 100-watt amp. There's just some kind of a sonic compatibility to where the sound is just thick and fat and it's kind of hard to explain for maybe somebody who, well, might be starting out playing, but I've heard it, I felt it, and it actually, I got a good taste of that with Mick Mars.
Oh yeah.
Watching his videos in his own studio, you can just tell while he's playing, and you look at his guitar, his worn down Strat, which appears to be his primary act, at least that I've seen. I'm sure he has many. That tone even resonates through a video camera. It's really, really amazing.
Mick Mars is a completely underrated player. Mick Mars is a hell of a nice guy. Very sweet, humble, nice guy. And he's a little guy. I stand next to him. He's this big. And then he gets on stage and he has the biggest, loudest, baddest guitar rig out of anyone I know, and I know some pretty good guys. Mick's rig is mind-blowing, unbelievably loud, unbelievably potent. There's subs coming up under the stage. All those cabinets behind you are live, pumping. The monitors are slamming out, and you can muffle the strings and just go chunk, and the whole stage shakes. It's the most ridiculous guitar rig ever, and probably my favorite live rig.
I've seen a couple backstage shots. I was like, wow, man. It's a supercharged rig with like the biggest power attenuators that I've ever seen.
There's a lot of amps working together to get that overall sound. It's a lot of Soldanos, some VHT, there's a Marshall in there, and it's kind of everything doing its own job separately. And there's 3 completely independent stereo rigs, like this one running these 2 things. Here goes my phone. We won't be taking it. And then he has those subs under the stage pushing up, and it is something to hear, something to see, and something to hear.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. So, boogie bodies. Tell me all about boogie bodies.
Boogie Bodies is a project we picked up a few years back, trying to resurrect it. Just basic necks and bodies. And I have a bunch of new stuff in the works for boogies right now. Different kinds of stars coming, typical Strats, Tellys, Sandemus style bodies. And that, it was a classic brand that we just brought back to life. And right in the vein of Boogie Bodies, I also just partnered with Mighty Might, who does a lot of the same things. So if you go on the Boogie Body section at U.tone, you'll see some new Mighty Might necks, Mighty Might bodies. I just brought in a bunch of the Mighty Might pickups. And Mighty Might, same thing, just a great historic company from the 70s, where it was the infancy of hot rodding your guitars. If you think back to even the early 70s, the most you could do to a guitar pretty much was you could change the nut or change the pickups, and there weren't even a lot of choices. It was very slim pickings, and Mighty Might got into that game early, and they made some really, really cool stuff. And I met the president of Mighty Might a couple years ago. She took it over from her father, and she's doing a great job with it. And I just thought Mighty Might and U.tone, we speak the same language. We cater to the same customer. So I just brought it in and started selling it as well. And they really make a great product. So if you surf through the FU site, you'll see in the pickup section some Mighty Might stuff. There's video demos for everything, and some of the Mighty Might necks and bodies on there as well. Really, really high quality stuff at a very reasonable price.
That I remember the very first time I heard about Mighty Might. Back in the, well, I don't know how else to put it, but back in the Fair Warning days. And I'm not too sure if the yellow guitar I'm thinking about was a Mighty Might body.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think that was still, no, that was actually a Charvel body.
Oh, okay.
The black and yellow. The Frankenstein, black and white, which became Frankenstein, that's a Boogie Bodies body. And then the black and yellow was Charvel.
I'll tell you, back in the day of hand scraping, hand painting, and putting together guitars, amp heads, amp cabinets, even, and it's a lost art. It's a lost art form, and
I think it's coming back, and
that's good.
And I've said this 1,000 times, but I'll say it 1,001. Go back again to that 70s mindset where it was, Fender and Gibson were the kings of the world. And, there was a couple B brands, whatever they might have been. And then there was the revolution. And the revolution was Jackson, Charvel, Kramer, ESP, all that stuff became, the hot rod super strat 80s types, but it was a complete revolution. And when it came on, you had these little companies outfitting all the major rock stars with that stuff because that's what they wanted. It wasn't about a signature model. It wasn't about getting paid. It was like, that's the cool stuff. That's what I want. And it grew and it became the entire industry. Ibanez became what it was, even though Ibanez was, basically in the 70s making, knockoff V's, Les Pauls, and Explorers and Strats, which were as good or better than what was being made. They're great guitars, those import Fuji Gen guitars. But that was the revolution. And then obviously it got cannibalized and bought up by the bigger companies, and it wasn't what it was. And I think the revolution is happening again. It's happening again right now under everybody's nose. There's guys, there's guitar builders, there's amp makers, there's painters, there's pickup makers, there's cable makers that all are trying to build a better mousetrap. They're buying better components, better product, better materials, and making better product. And that's the same revolution. The revolution is happening again now. And, you know, the big companies will always look down and be like, who cares what those little guys are doing down at the bottom of the hill? And they didn't learn from the last time, but it's happening again right now. There's so many boutique builders out there that I think are building spectacular gear, not just guitars, amps, guitars, cables, everything. And if you go on the FU site where it's the, it'll say partners and resellers, whatever the page is capable of, partners of FU, a lot of those guys are on there. And I encourage people to sniff around those type of guitars. You know, I could start naming them, but I feel like I'd miss a bunch, but there's so many good ones. And I don't want to leave anyone out, but there's some guys making really, really cool stuff right now. And it's the revolution is happening again right now. And no one knows it, no one believes it, but the cool players on the inside are like, you know, check this out. Look what I got. You know, this is awesome.
Well, yeah, you know, it's amazing. I think, well, let me ask you this. What is your favorite, what is your favorite recommendation for a pickup for an HSS Strat style guitar?
Pickups are very interesting, and I work with a lot of boutique pickup companies. I actually make an FU pickup, which I think is a good pickup. It's interesting. It has its own voice. It's neat. But some of the pickups I just mentioned, Mighty Mite makes a great pickup. I'll tell you who I just brought in pickups from, a company that I loved for a client. We did an HSS Strat for a client recently. We brought in bare knuckle pickups at his request. And let me tell you, we put a Holy Diver in the bridge and a Trilogy, the two Trilogy single coils in the middle of the neck. And the guitar sounded phenomenal. Phenomenal. Yeah. There's another company I really like that I'm bringing the pickups in. I just did a guitar for Andy Sneap from Judas Priest and an old Ibanez V. And I put the FU tremolo system in. But he likes these pickups out of the UK called Monty's pickups. And I'm literally in the midst of bringing Monty's in here to offer through FU. And it's a really, really cool twist on a classic vibe pickup. And when they sent the pickups in for Andy's guitar, and I played the guitar when it was done, and I was like, wow. These pickups are phenomenal. And I got in touch with Monty's, and so we'll have Monty's here as well.
Outstanding.
While we're on pickups, and I don't want to miss anyone, Dominger pickups I think are spectacular. He makes a really, really good pickup, and he's versatile. He can do anything. Another good one I really love is Amlifetano. Jerry Amlifetano pickups. Spectacular. And I have a friend of mine who's pretty big in the industry. He's been developing a pickup for about 2 years. We're going to launch it through FU next year. And I'm not one of these guys that's like, this is the best thing ever. You must only have this one thing. I'm like, no, these are all really good. You know, there's certain pickups that I just think are cool, and different price points and different styles and different needs for any player, any budget, and price doesn't determine the pickup either. You know, we sell a $60 pickup that I think sounds as good as a $250 pickup. You know, it's not always the money. It's It's what sounds good, what works well. And that's my take on pickups lately.
Well, that's outstanding. And yeah, you know, I'm starting to see the importance more and more of guitars that well, I'm one of those old school players that always thought, okay, made in the USA is the best. Made in the USA is the best. All I want is a made in the USA guitar. Well, there's some companies and there's some imports that are pretty darn close. And
I think there's some that are even better, and it depends on, made in the USA by who. There's a lot, and yeah, made in the USA is great, and most of it is super cool. I could tell you, in my opinion, I think Korea makes spectacular guitars. I think Japan still makes spectacular guitars. And believe it or not, people were scoffing, not just more than a few years ago at Indonesia. Indonesia is making some great guitars. It's not all, everything must be this or that. It doesn't mean all Korean or Indonesian or Japanese or USA are good. It's who puts the most care into that guitar, who makes the best version of that guitar. I can tell you Mexico is great right now. Mexico making a lot of the Fender and EVH stuff. Those guitars are phenomenal. And you can buy a guitar at a great price point and have a really, really good guitar. And if you want to go a little further and throw a few bucks at it and upgrade the block or a pickup or this or that, I put that. I have a Mexican Strat right behind me. There it is.
Beautiful.
That's a $400 Mexican Strat that I've had the FU bridge on. Right now I have the Vegatrem bridge on it. I'll put that guitar up against a USA Strat any day of the week. The guitar is great. It's a spectacular guitar.
There's all sorts of hidden gems, and you were right in saying, not everything that's worth having, not everything that's worth playing.
Oh no, you're roboting on me.
Uh-oh.
No, you're back.
No, I don't want to.
You're back. You're back.
All right.
I agree with you, and I could tell you the new EVH standard, which I believe is Indonesian.
Yes.
There's a video on my site where I do an upgrade to that standard guitar. The guitar is great. The guitar plays great. It sounds great. It feels great. There is no shame in that guitar. And for the guy that can't buy a $4,500 custom shop version of that guitar, you could get really close and upgrade the $400 or $500 version, whatever it costs. And they make great guitars, and they're making great finishes. They look great. They sound great. They play great. I think there's a lot of good stuff happening out there, and it's not all at the high dollar end of the spectrum.
Well, we have Cutter Savage joining us, a good friend of mine who just
What's up, Cutter Savage?
And say hi.
Hello, Cutter Savage.
And on the idea of EVH, what is your absolute number one favorite guitar that's come out of EVH lately?
Well, there's out of EVH lately. I happen to have one right here. I will show you what I have right here. I am loving I am loving this new purple sparkle.
That's
And you'll
beautiful.
see this is just a Wolfgang special, so it's not the top of the line. This is made in Mexico. And
Gorgeous.
I upgraded it with the purple titanium hardware and inserts.
Beautiful.
Let me get you closer
Beautiful.
there. And
Beautiful.
obviously
Look at that.
put an FU2 bridge on it, but the engine of that guitar, this is the meat and potatoes of what I do. So
Amazing.
that's the engine. So big block, brass trem stopper, heavy duty noiseless springs, brass claw, titanium screws, titanium inserts, titanium saddle mounts. And I could tell you, this guitar is not a very expensive guitar. This guitar smokes. It rules. Yep. It plays great. It sounds great. It stays in tune. It feels great. Ebony fingerboard. I love the wheel truss rod right here. So you can make truss rod adjustments on the fly. And it's purple. So it's pretty damn cool. Of course, I put a purple strap on it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So, of the current EVH stuff, I really like it. I love the new Stripe series stuff, the Relic Frankenstein. They did a great job on. Obviously, the Shark that they put out last year was great.
I remember that. Yeah.
That was a nice one. And they're doing a great job, man. That's the example of people who care, that are hands-on, that I know everyone in that product development team. So the guys that started as an idea, the guys that work it from EVH himself down, everyone involved in that process is all hands on deck. It's not like, oh, we're just going to make a guitar, stamp some guy's name on it and sell it. This stuff is battle tested, and nothing goes without being through the mill and the proper approvals of everyone involved from EVH himself on down.
Well, because Sabbath says nice accent,
Thank you.
I can't agree more. That is nice.
Thanks, man.
That's really, really neat. I love that finish. I love just the way that their finishes have. It seems like that their finishes are always evolving.
I agree. Every year they come out with some new colors, new types. They did those matte finishes like primer gray and matte black. I thought I had a primer gray one in here recently. I thought it was super cool. I love even on the standards with the there's like a tri-burst. It's like a flame top and it goes through 3 different colors. Beautiful guitar. Beautiful. My first guitar was a Hondo Flying V that I customized the hell out of in like 1981 or 2, whatever it was. And then in 1981, that guitar was $200 new. $200 to a 14-year-old kid in 1981 was like $2,000. There was a lot of money. You can buy those EVH standard guitars. I think they're like $500 40 years later. There was no such thing then. And the imports weren't of this quality.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Uh-oh, I think I'm losing you again. So the Dreamer's gone. I think it's just me on here. We could chat about anything. Although I can't see comments or do anything here. So let's just keep chatting. I'll talk about guitars all day by myself. Ah, he's back. Dude, you keep coming back. I was just getting ready to go into a new topic without you.
Oh, cool. What's on your mind? What do you want to talk about?
Oh, I don't know. I was just going to wing it. I got more guitars I could show you here.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll show you two more things I brought that I thought would interest you. So,
Absolutely.
so last year, I started working with the company Traveler Guitar.
Oh,
And
yes.
Traveler Guitar makes these really cool travel guitars. They make them in a Strat style. They make them in like an Ibanez gem style. And I said, man, those guitars would be great with some upgrades on them. So what we do is we bring them in and we upgrade them and we sell them on fu-tone.com. But here's mine, the one I
Oh,
travel
look
with.
at that.
So it's nice and little. It's a full scale guitar. It's the same scale guitar that I just showed you. It's 25.5-inch scale, but with most of the body cut away. It comes in a little gig bag. But what I do to it, obviously,
Yeah.
same
Look at
thing.
that. Yeah.
Massive block, trem stopper, noiseless
Amazing.
springs, brass claw,
Amazing.
titanium inserts. This one I put a D-tune on, and I travel with this. And they make a Strat version too. It looks just like a Strat with the cutout around the pick guard, and we upgrade that too. So if you surf around the FU site, you'll see these as well. Cutter says more guitars.
Absolutely, Cutter. Yeah, you know that.
Go ahead.
Please. What were you going to say?
The Traveler guitar is really a fun guitar. I mean, I'm going away for the weekend. I toss it in the car. I take it on a trip. I take it on a plane. And I have a couple little micro amps, and then I have a little mini Line 6, the micro bean pod. I plug it together. Off I go.
It's amazing.
I'll give you a sneak peek to what's coming out in October. So in October, we're going to launch the first line of FU guitars.
All right.
So it's a full FU guitar. And obviously...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Same stuff back there. And here it's going to come stock titanium inserts. This is all stock. Big block, noiseless springs, trem stopper, brass claw, D-tuner, all stock. These are the FU pickups.
Beautiful.
That will also come stock. Same thing, wheel truss rod. What's cool about it is I put coil taps in here.
Yes.
So you could split these to hum or single, and then a regular three-way. Also stock a kill switch.
Look at that.
And one volume. And there's going to be a version with an ebony board, and there's a version with a maple board. But the FU guitar will be out right around October, November.
So, do you have, if I may ask, sir, do you have an idea of how many different finish options you're going to have?
Yeah, the first run of these guitars, there'll be 4 different finishes. There'll be natural, like you just saw. There'll be black. There'll be, am I doing a white one? I forget. And there's going to be yellow too, which will be cool.
Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful.
Thanks.
That's wonderful. You know, this reminds me of a saying I once heard. You got to crawl before you can walk. and you got to walk before you can run. And it's sometimes it's really hard crawling, you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I do know. I know all about it.
Sure you do. I understand.
I
You
did
know,
lots of crawling before any running.
and you know, when you have a passion for something that, you know, you're just like, okay, I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna figure out a way to make it work. You know, and it I give those give the innovators and the master craftsmen a lot of credit and a lot of respect, because they're, when they know that, okay, you know, this person's having a hard time, and they're polite and they're kind, and I think that's the key to success.
I agree with you. I agree with you, and I know a lot of people in this industry for a very long time. And I think the guys that are the best at what they do and the guys that are the humblest at what they do are the most passionate about what they do. And it is a cliche to say, do something that you love and you'll never work another day in your life. I'm the picture of that. I love what I do. I love it. When I'm busy, when I'm having a horrible day, when things are going wrong, it doesn't matter, because I have such a passion for what I do. That's part of the job, and I love it and I work it. And like most people, I'm sure, and I've worked in situations that I wasn't happy, and I don't care how much money there was there. I was miserable, and someone said to me, "You will never be happy until you do what you love, and you love what you do, and you truly don't work." I work. I don't know. I work 12 to 16, 17 hours a day some days. And I got to tell you, I can't wait to wake up in the morning and get back at it. I've never once woken up and said, "Oh man, I got to go do this today."
Mm.
I get up, I spring out of bed. Sometimes I hobble, but I spring and I'm like, "Let's go. What are we doing today? Who am I taking care of? What's happening?" And I don't care if it's, you know, the biggest rock star in the world or a kid from Kansas that I'm on a video helping him string a guitar because he got stuck or wasn't sure. You know, it is important. And, you know, there's some dirty cats in this game. There's some cats that don't shoot straight or play fair. You know, that's a shame for them. You know,
Yeah.
if you're not positive, if you're not upbeat, if you're not willing to help and empower other people in this business, in any business, in life, get out of the way. Get out of the way of the people that do want to do that, that want to play on the team, that are just about the betterment, you know. So that's just my thought process. It's a shame everybody doesn't lean a little more towards that. Some guys are
I
like,
wish everybody did.
most guys are like, who can I screw? How much can I get? Who could I rip off? Who can I lie to? But you know what? Those guys, they'll do their thing. I think the cream rises to the top, and you find out who the good guys are, who the good companies are, who's trustworthy, who has your best interest at heart. And that, not just who wants to sell you something and take your money, who's in it for the love of it, you know, and that goes a long way.
You know, you're absolutely right. And you know, I met I met a lot of people, well, that, well, for lack of better terms, I met a lot of people that just didn't get it. And and the people who did get it are all people that have been around for a while. And
Yeah,
I'll,
I
you
I
know,
agree. I
yeah,
agree. And
yeah, yeah.
There's some bad cats that are around for a while too. Hey, you want to see another guitar?
Sure, absolutely.
I just thought of another good one. So let me see if I can reach it because I'm tethered on my ears.
Yeah, look at that. Hey, is that a Sully?
So yes, this is a Sully.
All right.
So Sully's another one of these guys that I'm talking about, like the revolution. Sully is part of that revolution, just a passionate, hardworking guy, very talented guy. So we partnered on a run of guitars also. These are on the U.tone site as well. We did a run of these Explorer style guitars.
Look at that.
This one, Purple Sparkle.
Look at that.
But the key to this one is also, like everything I do,
yes,
big block, brass trem stop, brass claw, heavy duty noiseless springs, FU2 bridge, titanium inserts, all standard on this guitar. And these are on the FU site. And I got to tell you, man, this guitar is awesome. Sully makes a great guitar. He has great designs. He's a great guy. So, and look at his other stuff. And he also does import guitars. This is an import line from Korea. He does handmade stuff in the USA. So there's something for everybody. And I got to tell you, this import guitar smokes a lot of stuff that I see coming out of USA factories. So this is a fun one too. So check it out on the FU site under the guitars section. You'll find the Sully section, and you'll see these. And what's cooler than this headstock?
I love that.
Come on! You can kill somebody with this.
Yeah, that's a hardcore. Yeah, Sully really knew what he was doing with that. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, he is the epitome of the revolution. I want to build a better mousetrap. I want it to be better. I want it to be cooler, and I want dudes to dig it. And same thing, great guitars.
Hey, Pooh Ninja's here. All right, can't stay.
What's up, Pooh Ninja?
but I totally catch your reposts. All right, Pooh.
You'll love it. I host half the show.
Yeah, Adam's an awesome host. Not like this dreamer guy, whoever the heck he is, man.
Not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. It's funny. Phil Collin from Def Leppard did like a Jackson Instagram takeover, and we were talking, and he said, "Do you want to do it on FU?" And I said, "Yeah, but I'd rather just have a conversation with you, not like a takeover." Or, it's not. And right out of the gate, I said to him, we got on together, and I said, "Listen, let's not even talk about gear. I know Jackson guitars, the Marzio pickups, U.tone. We know. Let's just chat. How you dealing with this? What kind of workout do you do?" I said the conversations we have in private, I think, are valuable, and people don't get to see that it's always the same old. So we had this thing, and everyone started writing me, "Man, you're a great host. You should host." I go, I didn't host anything. It was just the same conversation we have in private. We put it on the internet. It was like just we bullshitted about whatever.
That's wonderful to be able to talk to somebody and be able to have that connection. It's remarkable. It really is.
For sure. Listen, man, I don't care if you've sold 100 million records or you're just some dude who likes guitars. Cool people are cool people, period. Assholes are assholes, period.
I agree.
So that's the way I look at
it. Well, you're right. You're right. I can't agree more. There's a guitar that's over your left shoulder. And yeah, the one, yeah, that one right there with a single hum in it.
That's a prototype FU guitar. It's Carina, and the one over my right shoulder, same thing. Actually, both cut from the same piece of Carina, just stained differently. And when I was coming up with the lay of the land for what that FU guitar that I showed you for production became, we made some in-house versions. So the one you were asking about.
Yeah, that's it right there.
So
Look
this
at
is
that.
a solid piece of Carina. It has the PMS pickup mounting system under the pickup.
Amazing.
PMS on the FU guitar as well, by the way. They come stock. This one has an EVH Frankenstein humbucker in it.
Oh, yeah.
As always, the goods. And what's cooler than a reverse headstock? Not much.
Not much.
I'll show you the other one if I can reach, because I'm tied to everything. So again, same piece of Carina, but you'll see looks completely different because we used a red stain on this one. This one also PMS under the pickup, but I went hum single on this, which is what I really like. I like a hum single, but
Yeah.
on the production one, we went 2 hums with the coil tap, so you could have whatever you want. This has a set of prototype naval brass saddles on it, which we'll be releasing later this year. They sound great, right in line with the titanium saddles. This one also has the kill switch, which we sell at FU.
Amazing.
Yeah, nice guitar. Plays great, sounds great. And we're going to eventually we'll just sell these on the website as well. While I'm pulling guitars off the wall, here's that Strat I told you about.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
This is a Mexican Strat. Nothing insane or crazy about it. And we use it to demo. It recently had my FU Strat bridge on it that we use to demo. But right now it has the Vega Trem on it, which we started carrying. And the Vega Trem, this thing is so cool because see how it's cut just inside of the route, and then there's a lot of room right in here the way the block is cut. So the arm movement on this,
look at that.
there's so much room on it. It's a very smooth feeling trem. They're from Spain. It's called Vega Trem. Obviously, they're on the U.tone site. They're all stainless steel. And when I met with them a year ago, I looked at it. I said, well, the block's a little small. I don't think this is going to sound good. So I tried one, though. I brought it in. Because it's all stainless steel, I got to tell you, this thing sounds and plays great. But if you like that really warbly, if you like that kind of soft feel and wide range of motion, Vega Trem is super cool. And also, it's very easy. There's a demo video on the site. It's very easy to mount this bridge to your guitar.
Wow.
This piece right here with the screws in it, it's just a thin blade, and it goes into your existing holes. And then the tremolo just rides right up against this.
Look at that.
No modification. Really high quality unit. Sounds great, plays great. And if you wanted to convert your guitar back to the original bridge, you're good to go. So they make 2 different versions, one for the 6-screw version and one for the 2-post version. And they're both on fu-tone.com.
That's wonderful.
Fun
That
guitar.
that reminds me of a system that I saw. I believe on one of Joe Perry's Les Pauls. Joe Perry had a Gibson or has a Gibson Boneyard, and on that Boneyard guitar, I don't know, I'm not too sure if it was a prototype or not, but it had a tremolo like that. That that whole.
I think it could have been a Wilkinson. Don't quote me. I'm not sure, but maybe. I don't think it was Vega. I think it might have been a Wilkinson.
And I always wondered, thinking to myself, the first thought in my mind was a Strat bridge on this gnarly looking black Boneyard guitar. And then after that explanation, after you showed that, that's actually quite innovative.
They did a really great job, designing that tremolo. The design was key, but then it's nothing without the execution of how they manufactured it, because the manufacturing is flawless. The material, they don't skimp on materials. It's a really, I wouldn't have brought it in and carried it if I found one thing wrong with it. So I was very skeptical to carry it. And once I brought it back and threw it on that guitar to test it, I was all in. I loved it.
Now, are you using locking tuners with that?
On that one, I'm not, because that's like a crash test guitar here. But I got to tell you, that thing stays in tune great. That guitar just, it's got oh no, it doesn't have the stock tuners on it. That has a set of what are they? Those are the GravTech saddles, which I'll be carrying soon. Tuners, GravTech tuners, and they are really good tuner.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. For all the single cut players out there, all the single cut type, Les Paul type bodies, well, actually players, musicians out there, what U.tone products that you have right now, sir, are specifically designed for a single cut Gibson Les Paul type guitar?
So for a stock stop tail Les Paul style guitar, obviously the PMS, the pickup mounting system. I have upgrade saddles, the little Tunematic saddles, and I'm coming out with a full stop tail wraparound upgrade bridge, which will be out beginning of 21. I have the prototypes. I just approved the prototype, and it's pretty good. It's good. Let me think what else for that. That's pretty much it for right now. In the tech section, for a lot tech stuff section, there's lots of cool like tools. I have like the Music Nomad tools, which are, truss rod wrenches and spanner wrenches. I have great fingerboard and fret cleaning products like Gorgamite and Lizard Spit and Music Nomad. There's a lot of neat stuff that you can use on any guitar there. I have a line of pots coming out soon, which I'll wait to tell you about. Plenty to do with your Les Paul style guitars, and change the pickups right off the bat.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I know that, as much as I would love to have a Cherry Sunburst Gibson Access, I'm like, I'm pretty happy with what I have, but I know how great your stuff sounds, and I know that I was blown away the first time I ever heard an FU-tone product. Excuse me. I was absolutely spellbound.
Thanks, man.
Seriously, I was. You can just hear the sonic difference. It became pretty evident, pretty clear
Thank you. I
that,
appreciate that.
you know,
That's
U.tone,
excellent. Listen, we
F U.
try. We try to have fun. We try to make things sound better. We have a lot of great artists that use the product, which we're really proud of. That's really a fun part of running this company. You know, the artist roster for U.tone, for the most part, is basically the posters on my walls from when I was a kid in high school and middle school, and the concerts I went to see, the albums I bought, you know, the hanging out in parking lots of shows as a kid, and now going, wow, I work with that guy and that guy. And I still, believe me, it's not lost on me. I constantly pinch myself going, you know, this can't be real. You know, coming up in the generation of MTV, when MTV was first starting, and it was wild. You know, and you would see these videos, and you'd see Van Halen and Motley Crue and Def Leppard owning it in the day. And, you know, it just kept coming. Docket and Warrant and Winger and Whitesnake, and all the W bands, Twisted Sister. And, you know, the bands that made very famous videos that were in heavy rotation of the day, you know, that's pretty much the artist roster today. And, you know, now when I'll work with some of these guys and see those same guitars that I saw as a kid on TV and actually work on those guitars, I'm flipping out still. I've been doing this a long time. I still flip out.
Well, it's amazing. I can. Well, first off, I want to say the reason why I started this whole debacle known as Hanging with the Dreamer is because really I want to give people a voice, that because I know how it is to have my voice not listened to and ignored and pushed to the side for whatever reason. I really want to give people a voice. And I can't tell you how much it means to me. Your positive words, your positive vibe, your positive spirit, Adam.
Thank you.
And thank you for bringing that to the show today.
I think it's key. I think it's key, especially in this day and age on the internet. And there's a lot of shows or groups or hangouts, and I'm friends with a lot of guys that do that, the guys that do it right, the guys that are positive, the guys that support each other, that empower each other. But then there's that small group of guys that are like a pack of wolves that turn on each other, that talk poorly about other people's product or their music or their guitar playing or this, and they're nasty and mean, and, you know, and I go, why bother, man? Why would you, if I didn't have something nice to say about someone, something, some album or a product, the last thing I would do would be to get online and go, oh, that stinks, or this is terrible. Dude, if you're not out here being positive, helping the guy next to you, being a part of the solution of empowering dudes and girls, because I know a million great girl guitar players. That if you're not a part of lifting up someone else or supporting them or being good and positive, don't bother. Stay home, stay off of here, be positive or be out. And I know that's not going to be the case, because there's plenty of dudes that spew hateful shit, and I stay away from it. I don't get, and every once in a while, like, someone will send me a screenshot like, hey, look what this guy said, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I think I'll keep with the guys that are positive, that lift me up and I lift them up, that are fun to talk to, that are good at what they do. And I think
Absolutely.
the FU artist roster will speak for itself as well. Those are all good dudes that are a part of it.
I've seen who's on your roster, and from what I have heard, from what I have seen personally, I mean, every artist on your roster, they're all just straight up, straightforward, phenomenal, kind people. And, I really think it's awesome to see the kind of artist roster that you have. I think
Thanks.
it's pure and it's honest, and that's cool.
I appreciate that, and yeah, and the artists are great, but then trickle it down to the next level to guys like us that will just get on here and have a conversation, a positive conversation, sharing information, spreading a good message, being positive. I just will never get the guys that take it in a negative direction, or they war with each other, or it's like some contest of who knows the most about what. And the guys usually who say the shittiest things and are the meanest dudes on here have the least amount of credentials and resume under their belt, but seem to scream the loudest. Guys that are cool and that lift each other up and help and support and point and direct and just have a conversation, that's cool. And there's a handful of really cool little groups that do this, that are cool. I love watching Johnny Bean on his show, and Dave Nestle and his, and a couple of the other dudes. And I don't care, Ben Combs. These are just regular dudes that love guitar and music and get together and talk about it. And that's what's cool. That's the coolest. That's what I dig.
Well, I know that Johnny is a wonderful, wonderful guy. He's come on here live and hung out with me a couple times, and he's a kind individual, great guy. And I will never thank him enough either.
I listen, I agree. He's a spectacular dude, but what strikes me the best about someone like him, or him in particular, is two things. A, his knowledge of what we're talking about. He's very knowledgeable. But B, his positivity and his outlook. That's all you need. You got those two things, you're good.
So, if you don't mind me asking, what's your goals for fu-tone.com in 2021?
2021 goals for FU. The biggest thing I think is going to be the guitar coming out. I have a couple other projects in the works. Overall, my goal is to grow the company, to keep doing what I'm doing, to spread good tone, good vibes, and information to guys that may not otherwise have it. And I like sharing that information with guys. The stuff that when I was a kid was a secret, the companies wouldn't tell you. I love making an instructional video and say, let me show you this very basic thing. I can't tell you how many emails and messages I get with, oh my God, I never knew that. How come nobody's ever told me this? And I never understood why it was a secret for some of this stuff. Again, some companies just want to sell you stuff and wish you luck. I'm not about that. To me, the biggest thing is the information, educating someone to make a decision of what's right for them. And I get the question a lot. A guy will say to me, what's best, brass, copper, or titanium? And the answer isn't what I like best. The answer is going to be whatever you like best on that particular guitar with that wood and that pickup. But let me educate you. Here's a video showing you all three things in the same guitar. And, let me just give you the tools to make a good decision. Because anyone who's telling you what's the best and what you need is just trying to sell you something.
Mhm.
Educate the people. I'll give you a very brief story on that. When I first started working with Warren DeMartini from Rat, I went up to his house one day and we took the snakeskin guitar, the famous snakeskin guitar, and we set it up 5 different ways and we recorded it. And each time he recorded 5 different passages. So we took the guitar stock and he recorded like a Clapton thing. He recorded a lead. He did the solo to You're in Love. No music, no nothing, just perfect. And I'm sitting there like, wow. Then he did like a blues thing. He recorded 5 passages. Then I took the guitar and I changed it. I put a brass block on it. He recorded the same 5 passages. And I put a titanium block on it. Same 5 passages. Then I changed the saddles, different block. That we set the guitar up 5 different ways, 5 different passages. It took all day. And then at the end of the day, we started listening back. And I had all the notes. I still have these notes somewhere. And we would start crossing stuff off. And it came down to the last two versions. And he said to me, well, what do you think? Which one? I said, I'm not telling you. Who cares what I think? It's your guitar. You got to play it. And that's what we did. And he said, I like this one. I go, that was the one I liked. And it was. And, all I do is give you the options. But I can tell you what happened. And that guitar is iconic. That guitar sounded great to begin with. When we played it stock, I was like, oh shit, how am I going to make this better? And it was that good, but it just kept going and going and going. And we went in that direction. It was really cool, but it's the information and the education of what it is that I do that I'll pass on. And then ultimately you have to make the decision.
That's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, I usually like to ask my guests this question. So, do you have any questions for me?
So you told me your main guitar was your Les Paul.
Yes, sir.
And you seem to be of the same era that I grew up in, same style of music, same style. My question for you would be, who are your top 2 or 3 players? A for players and then B for tone.
Okay. Well, top 2 or 3 players for players, I have a lot of them, but definitely Page. Page is my top. He's my top go-to. I would say that Jimmy Page probably has had the most influence on my playing style in the way I approach chordal harmonies. And there's so much that could be done with one note, sliding one note, the harmony and the overtones that Jimmy Page came up with, that he took to mandolin, an acoustic, 6 and 12 string guitars. It's absolutely legendary as far as I'm concerned.
Spectacular. Good choice. Who else? There goes my phone again. I'm not answering it. Who else?
Well, I would say that my number 2 favorite, as far as modern.
Not modern. Number 2 favorite. Just number
period.
2. Yeah.
Okay.
See, I didn't say who's your favorite guitar player. It's too hard. So I always say, give me your top 2 or 3, and I don't care what era they're from.
Well, that would be Page.
Page
Wild.
1. Who's 2?
Yep. Zach Wild.
Wild.
And EBH.
That's a pretty good top 3. And now that you have me asking the questions, what 3 guitar tones are your favorite? Whose tones do you love? Doesn't have to be your favorite player, but it can be.
Paul Kozlov.
Good one.
Free.
Amazing.
Definitely. Number 1.
That's a great choice. Who else?
Paul Kozlov. Page.
Page is a great choice.
You know, I would definitely say that those are my top 2 favorite, probably most influential on the tone that's inside of my head would be Kozlov and Page. But I could also throw Joe Walsh in there.
Joe Walsh, a great choice. Great choice. And since you turned it over to me and now I'm the host and asking questions,
Yes, sir.
I'll keep it going. What piece of gear that you don't own do you really want? That could be out of your reach or you just can't get. What piece of gear or 2, if I could snap my fingers and make it appear in front of you, what would it be?
It would be an U.tone.
That's too easy. That's bullshit. But you can get it in October.
Actually.
Listen, in October, they're going to be out. You know how much this guitar is going to cost in October?
$2,800.
You're right. If you buy this bridge on my site, just this bridge is like 4 something. The pickups with the PMS are $300. Do you know how much I'm going to sell this guitar for in October?
How much?
$1,000.
Oh, okay.
$999.
That is amazing in itself.
So it's not an out of reach guitar. So take that off your list. And my question still stands. What piece of gear or 2? What is it?
That would be one of Dave Friedman's amplifiers.
Friedman amp is a good choice. Friedman makes a great amp.
You know, I have his pedals. I have a Friedman No More Tears wall. That screams, especially with the 3 different diode settings that you could click it on for the 3 different frequencies. I have the Friedman BEOD Deluxe. It's basically the BEOD, 2 channels.
So Friedman amp on your wish list. I'm going to keep you on track because now I'm the host.
Okay.
What else? What else? If I snap my fingers or took you gear shopping and you could get the one thing you don't have, what else is on that list?
A Line 6 Helix.
Line 6 Helix is a badass unit. I love the Helix. Very similar to the Helix is the Headrush pedal board.
Yes.
Which I actually carry them. They're on the site. I have one sitting right down here. I'll tell you what, and the Helix is a great choice. It's a stellar piece of gear, but I'll tell you what I love about the Headrush. The Headrush has a touch screen.
Yes.
So it's like an iPad. You move your pedals around, then it has knobs. It's the best of both worlds. It's very easy to operate, and it sounds great. So you got a Helix and a Friedman amp. Give me one more.
Okay. Well, the Helix / Headrush, I neglected to mention that, but I will tell you, thank you to Tracy Guns and his video that he did for the series How Do You Headrush, and then he was running through his Headrush tones.
Tracy Guns turned me on to the Headrush. I'm with Headrush because of Tracy. And then when Tracy was here at FU, I said, hey, man, I want you to write me a patch in my Headrush. So my main patch in my Headrush Tracy, I downloaded the whole Tracy package, and they're great, but I had him write me one while he was here. And he sat on the floor, literally right where I'm sitting, and sat with a guitar and tweaked up his setting for me. Tracy's the one that turned me on the Head Rush. And Tracy's a great guy, a great FU artist, and just a hell of a dude. So what's your third piece of gear?
My third piece of gear would be a Nags, Joe Nags, who used to run the custom shop for PRS, Harvard Smith. Joe Nags makes a Kanai series for Steve Stevens, who is also, when it comes to like harmony improvisations, Steve Stevens is another influence. He's a big impact on me as far as like.
Steve's great. Steve is spectacular. He's another FU guy, and just I love working with him, and his playing is, forget about it.
He's a very kind individual.
Oh, beyond.
And it translates in his playing, and like his flamenco Spanish playing. I did kind of a flamenco video on my YouTube channel that this is going on, and it was kind of a flamenco Spanish type E minor type of progression that was in my head, and I thought, well, hey, now that I'm getting it out of my head, might as well put this on video. And there's just something when I pick up a guitar, there's this thing that comes into my head and comes over my soul. It comes over me. And the power of music it's unmistakable.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That is the power of music. That's exactly what I was just going to say.
It's just, to me, music, and this is, when I'm creating stuff, when I'm creating shows, when I'm writing a guitar riff, what I normally like to do is just sit in a chair and lean back, breathe, and take in a whole bunch of good air, push out, and just open myself to the power of music. Because once I do that, then stuff just comes out of nowhere and goes through my hands, whether I'm using my E-bow. Thanks to Jimmy Page, I didn't have a real violin bow, so I got an E-bow, and it works pretty good. And just that aura that I see where Jimmy Page gets his legendary Mystique from. And
Page was an amazing player. I had the pleasure. I met him last year, and I was nervous. I don't get nervous. Now it's just like, oh, there's this guy, that guy. I was like, holy shit, there's Jimmy Page. It was pretty crazy.
And he was kind, wasn't he?
He was great. He was great.
He wants to know about you, and that's why I admire the guy, and I try to incorporate that in everything I do when I'm talking to somebody. I want to know about them. I want to know, what their joys are. I want to know what inspires them. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy to have you here today, Adam. And
thanks, man. Well, this is a pleasure for me, and you're a positive cat, and you get it. You understand the power of music, the coolness of people, and it's just hanging out. We could have had this conversation, sitting in the lounge here or sitting at a bar, and it's the same conversation. Just a couple of dudes geeking out over gear and just talking about life. Easy.
It's just amazing. Well,
Good
I
fun.
I thank you. I thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart
Thanks,
for
man. Thanks
your
for having me.
kindness and on this ever never ending quest to develop a real good production. I really believe in what I do, and I wear it on my sleeve.
That's great, man.
And you know,
This was good fun, and I'm glad we got a chance to talk. I'm sure we will talk again. This is awesome. It's positive. It's uplifting, and that's kind of right in my wheelhouse.
well, I thank you for your time, everybody that's going to see this on the replay. Please check out fu-tone.com. Any questions that you have, anything you're looking for as far as guitar tone, some positive wisdom, please feel free to hit up Mr. Reiver and enjoy what you learn and enjoy what you know and enjoy the beauty of what's fu-tone.com.
This was awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Everyone, feel free. I'm easy to get a hold of right through the website, and let's keep rocking. How's that?
Let's keep rocking. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Adam.
Cool, guys. Thanks for having me. Awesome, man.